Says every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, with something relevant and exciting. This is one of the best ones.
No, it's not.
Trust me.
Definitely not.
We have with us a mayoral candidate
Yes,
this evening,
yes,
Miss
yes.
Dorothy Brown.
Yes.
How do you like that? There's
Happy to be
somebody
here.
beside Daly in this town, and we are bringing them to you live so you can talk to them and they can talk to you. Dorothy Brown is a declared candidate and a legitimate candidate, and I think a very interesting candidate for the
Absolutely.
mayor of Chicago, because you know who put his hat in the ring yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. And, you know, he's such a modest guy. You had a funny thing happen to Dorothy on the way to the studio today. Tell us about what the initiative the Defender tried to take.
Yes, I got a call from the Defender to respond to a comment that was made. They asked the mayor if he would permit the Chicago Defender and WVON to host a debate forum, if you will, and he laughed them out of the room
My goodness.
at the end of the interview. And I told them that basically what he did was laugh in the face of the African American community.
Absolutely.
Because you're talking about an African American newspaper,
Right.
African American radio station,
Right.
and he laughed at them. He announced his candidacy in the African American community, but what he's telling the African American community is that they're not intelligent enough for him to speak to them about the issues.
Unbelievable. I mean, really just, I would say, overly cocky, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now look at this. This
Okay,
is a
fine.
beautiful picture
Thank you.
of you announcing your candidacy for mayor. And I want you to tell the folks out there,
Okay, then.
what were you
Thank
saying? What was your promise to the people at that point? You look so happy.
Well, I was promising them to finally have a government for all the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the fact that we want a government like Abraham Lincoln talked about, a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. A government that will be open, transparent, fair, and democratic, something that you don't see in
Wow,
City
yeah,
Hall.
like we learned in school, right? Dorothy?
Yes, exactly. In the civics classes.
Yes,
What happened to that
yeah,
government?
yeah.
You know, a government where we were in corruption
Right.
and in corruption now would not have crime and corruption in City Hall. A government that where the educational system would be fair for all of our children,
You got it.
not just some of our children.
You got it. You got it.
So I was really talking.
You were
to
saying,
them
let's
that
get
day.
it done, right?
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
that is
it's time
wonderful.
for a change.
And what I read about you is one of your watchwords is professionalism over politics. Can you
Yes.
explain that to the folks?
And that has always been my philosophy: professionalism over politics. Because we have lost significantly in these various governmental offices, from the city government all the way up to the federal government,
Right.
because we've had people in positions because and that don't know what they're
That
doing.
know somebody and not something. Is
Know
that-
somebody and not something. I
Right.
like that, Joanne. I like that. We must, and that's why we've had so much waste and abuse in these governmental offices. It's run so efficiently
Right.
because people know somebody and not something.
Right.
And so I believe in professionalism over politics.
Right.
The gentleman that makes the highest salary in my office, and he actually makes more than me. The chief information officer makes more than the clerk of the court.
Wow.
I did not know him when I ran for clerk of the circuit court. I looked at his resume and I said that if he comes in an interview half as good as his resume says that he is, then I was going to hire him for that position. He did not have to pass out flyers for me. He did not even have to donate to my campaign. But I hired him because I wanted to bring that office into the 21st century.
And serve the people.
And serve the people.
That's right.
We do those things at the expense of the taxpayers.
Right, right. All right, we're going to speak more about Dorothy Brown thinks and Dorothy Brown will do, but we've got a lit up phone board. I knew we would. I knew you were popular. Hello, you're on the air. Hello, I'm on the air. No, you need to be on the air. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, caller.
Hi.
You're
I
too
would like
close
to.
to the,
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the
Turn your
clerk
television
for
down.
Yes,
having
please.
the courage to step up and run for mayor against this crime-ridden administration that we have here in Chicago. And speaking of crime, one of the positions that you've been out front on, Clerk Brown, is corruption in government. Having said that, as you know, there are a series of new candidates out there to challenge the incumbents who have rubber-stamped just about everything that this administration has done. Do you plan to offer any support or encouragement to any of those independents who are out there running for office?
You're absolutely right. I've issued a position paper called "End Corruption Now: Good Government is Good Ethics. Good ethics is good government," and we laid out a 6-point plan on how to end corruption in City Hall. In order to end corruption, you must stop the opportunity. People commit fraud, waste, and abuse because they have the opportunity. So that's what we have done. But as it relates to the automatic candidates that are out there, I actually don't want a rubber stamp city council. I do not want a rubber stamp city council.
We're all tired of that.
We're tired of that. People need to govern democratically. So I am going to not endorse in any of the races. I want a city council that's elected by the people, for the people, and by the people.
Right.
And then I will work with that city council.
Well, I think Monday morning, 120
Was it 120?
aldermanic candidates stood out there and gave in their petition signatures.
Oh, wow.
Incumbents, but mostly insurgents.
But that's a Democratic.
We're having a real race this year.
That's what a democratic government is about. And I'm talking about a shifting of the paradigm
Right.
of thinking in Chicago, of going to good government. It's time, so goes Chicago, so goes the country.
Right.
And we want a paradigm shift to good government in Chicago so we can paradigm shift to good government in this country.
That's right. What you talk about, I've read, is we're currently paying a corruption tax in this town. That's what you say,
Yes,
right?
we are.
And the corruption tax is our money's being wasted by all of this, right?
The money's being wasted by inefficiencies in government. What you're talking about? Ghost payrollers, low show performance, probably incompetent management, mismanagement. But then we're also paying a lot of money because of settlements for police brutality and abuse. We're having to actually defend these various individuals that were city employees as they are charged with these various crimes. So we're wasting money on their defense. So it's a corruption tax. And people need to understand that. We would not have to be looking at property tax increases every year, staring down our faces, if in fact we had, first of all, an efficient government, and then second of all, not have to pay all that those corruption taxes.
I think included in that is a fair government. I've read your 6-point plan. And one of the issues you raise is very important to everyone is that we still don't have a fair system of allocating minority contracts in this town, and people have stolen the money.
Absolutely. And people have gone
Friends
to
of
jail.
Mayor Daley have stolen the money.
Exactly. People have actually had contracts and said that they were with WBE, and they really were not women business owned or minority business owned. And we need to, and I talked about creating an independent office of MBE, WBE, DBE programs, taking it out of that procurement department. You can't have the
procurement sounds
Fox.
like a real horrible place.
That's right. You can't have the Fox, watching the
hen house. You got it.
Take it out. CTA has a separate department. The Cook County has a separate department. And so that department actually needs to be separate, and then it needs to be boned up so that you can have the people that are necessary to go out and do the site visits. When I audited the MBE, WBE, DBE programs for the Chicago Transit Authority when I was the general auditor, I recommended to them to add people to their office so that they can go out to the departments, go out to these companies, and look at their financial statements. You have to actually look at the very first check that was deposited in the bank to start the company.
That tells you who's who.
That tells you who bought that company and whether or not it's really, really owned. And wait a minute, not just who deposited the check, but where did you get that check from?
Right.
Okay, that's the thing. You could have gotten that check from another primary contractor who's helped you start your business. Then you're still controlled. You are not owned by a minority just because somebody gave you a check.
That's right. And that's interesting. I don't know if everybody knows, but you were 12 years maybe with the CTA.
It was 9. I was 9 years as the general auditor for the CTA, but I have over 30 years.
I wish you had stayed there a little, because they're in a mess. You know that, Dorothy, right?
Oh.
They are in a terrible economic mess, and they're going to take it out on the ridership. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, Ms. Brown. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Hey, this is really how I feel. I feel you running for mayor is just suicide. I feel Daley has it balled up already.
We
Hey,
got your back.
It's Daley's to win. What concerns me is property tax. What can you do different than what is done now to help the citizens of Chicago to grasp a hold of these property taxes that are totally out of control?
What we're looking at, see, the reason why the mayor hasn't had to increase property tax rate is because the assessed valuation has been going
ballooning.
up.
Yes,
so, yeah,
yes.
so we have to get control of the assessed valuation, really support what the tax assessor is talking about, Houlihan,
Mr. Houlihan,
as far
yes.
as freezing that, going back and getting that 7% cap put back on there. And then we have to look at other ways of funding government. We have to look at more creative ways of funding government so that we're not always looking at the property tax as a reason for funding government. And let me just add,
we're tied
this.
up in
It is
Springfield
not
with some
suicide.
stuff.
I am not committing suicide. Let me tell you something. You need to we need to make sure that people have a paradigm shift. You do not have to put up with waste and corruption in government any longer. I have over 30 years of business and professional experience. I'm an attorney, certified public accountant, and I have a master's degree in business administration finance. I am very, very qualified. I have more credentials than most CEOs of multi-billion-dollar corporations have, including the current mayor. So it's not suicide. If I can get you to have a paradigm shift, if I can get you to have courage to stand with me for change, then I will have the courage to be that change.
There was an interesting column today in the Southtown, the Daily Southtown. Phil Cadner, the columnist, said people just are going to vote for Daley because it's tradition, and they don't have to. We don't want this tradition. Get it? It's not helping us.
Starting early enough for you to make that change.